Hello everyone, I'm Caillou, and today I'm here to talk about spoilers for a new upcoming custom set that's being spoiled as we speak. It's going to be released, I believe, end of this month. It's Nangjiao in Bloom by Canterbury Egg. So this is a sequel set to the Nangjiao block. Also, I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of Nangjiao, so tell me the correct pronunciation in the comments or whatever. But Nangjiao is sort of, I think, a base Chinese, and but like with a slight multicultural, multi-Pan Asian inspired setting. It's had two sets that have been previously released, which are Goliaths of Nangjiao and Surging Tide. They were some of the oldest sets in MSCM, which is the largest custom card constructed format. And now and while like some of its characters like Seto-san have gone on to be staples in Egg's other projects and just across the custom verse in general, we're finally returning to the setting and getting a deeper dive on it. So the conceit of this set is that in after the war that occurred in original Nangjiao block, it's entering a time of prosperity, a time of decadence, and so we get to see a sort of like golden age, quite literally, with one of the mechanics being named golden age of the set. So I'm going to be linking in the description a link to the MSE server where you can see spoilers if you haven't already. If you're coming here from the MSE server, though, you're here to see what the new cards are. So today, the idea is January 11th is all about blue spells or blue cards. So when I asked Egg for cards to spoil, I asked for basically two things. I love control in my heart. I love, even though I think I play combo a lot more these days in formats, a good control deck is the closest to my heart. I love feeling like I have agency over what's happening in the game. So I wanted like cards which had a controlling bent, and I also wanted some cards that Egg thought would be relevant in Commander because, well, it has been a while. I am the a curator for MSEDH, and presumably the set is going to be submitted to MSCM, so I wanted to see what bangers it would bring along with it. And Egg did not disappoint. Today we have three blue legends, each adding a color as they go, and they all do different things, I think, and have interesting impacts on their own respective formats. So we're going to start off with Chian, or Elder Soothsayer Chian. Human wizard for 2 and a blue, and whenever it becomes a target of a spell or ability you control, you make a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. You can only get it once per turn. But while this might seem like a bit of a weird hoop, okay, we're getting some heroic in blue. It's not unprecedented, but also like where are we going to see support for this? I think that this is going to be a limited bomb because Golden Age naturally wants you to have a bunch of activated abilities and also a bunch of cheap cantripy spells like combat tricks or what have you. So I could easily see Chian just coming down. If you play this on turn 4, you can immediately make a Drake, even on turn 3, depending on what you curve out with, and then you just like can take the game over from there. It's a great limited bomb. I think in MSCM it's a bit slow, and I think that it's no like currently we have a Rini of the Sundial who makes a 4/4 angel whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell in general. And so that's going to take all of the slots. So for constructed, I don't think this is as exciting, but as a build around and limited, absolutely insane. Would first pick this anytime with the themes of the set, and and I think that in EDH, the once per turn is a good power limiter, but we'll have to see if that allows it to like play around there. I feel like you would want to do something in MSCDA, something cheeky with creating tokens of Chian, and then having stuff that targets that can target multiple of your creatures. So then you make tokens of Chian, and then you target all of them, so that you can start pumping out wave upon wave of Drake. It's a little bit roundabout, but I think that would be a cool build around. And if Nangjiao is submitted to and gets into MSCM, it's probably like the cheeky build I would like to try out first. But yeah, so the next card, though, I think has potential both in constructed, but more so for a clearer direction in MSEDH. It's going to be Lynn the Opportunist right over here. She's a 3/2 with flash, and she provides an interesting coastal piracy type effect. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, that's not one or more creatures. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, you get to create a treasure token, then exile the top card of that player's library. You may play cards exiled this way. Now, the ramp plus card advantage may just seem insane, but note that it doesn't do the thing which black versions of this effect usually do, which it doesn't naturally fix your mana. The treasure has to be your mana fixing. So if they're heavily pipped or outside of or multicolored outside of colors you're in, it's going to be a struggle to play multiple cards if you don't have extra fixing. But the flash here does make it a lot scarier, because you can just swing in your opponent's like, okay, there's a bunch of 1/1s, which honestly, given what is the name of the mechanic? Oops, I'm forgetting. Fuck it, we're doing it live. It's the mechanic where you can exile the spell as it resolves, and then you create a 1/1. And then whenever that 1/1 attacks, you get to copy that spell. There we go. It's called Showcase. My bad. But yeah, with a bunch of Showcase tokens running around, they'll be like, oh man, okay, you know what? It's just a 1/1. I'll hit in. Then you flash this in. Suddenly, those 3 1/1s turn into 3 treasures and 3 cards, and it's like, oh, that one combat, I might have just lost that entire combat step. But yeah, I think that obviously great and limited. I think that in constructed, it might have implications. But I think most likely, if 4 mana is a little high for this type of effect in MSCM constructed, in MSADH though, where you can play a bunch of mana rocks and other fixing, I think that this card gets significantly better and makes for like an interesting because we have like ninjas from the Jedi block, which you can pair with this to get into some interesting maybe blue-black aggro, which again, aggro is not a very viable archetype usually in Commander. So I think that this is a cool plant for that. And also there's been a few decks like Vedlin Ross, which are all, and all of the Syzygy Pirates, which are all about playing cards that your opponents own. So this just adds to that sort of growing synergy pile. Okay, so both of these cards, while cool, I don't think that they really they're cool, but they don't hit right here, you know? I'm here, I'll preview them. They're cool, but they're not they don't hit me straight in the heart. This last one though, oh boy. I think when I saw this, I was like, oh, what a dream. This is this feels like a targeted design. So it's going to be Fanglo, the Astral Tide. And what a doozy this is. Okay, maybe let's, oh, whoops, that's moving me. Let's move Fanglo over here for now. Just wanted to have a nice central position, to contrast with the others. But it's Esper and a 1 for a legendary dragon. Flash, flying, you love to see it. And whenever it enters the battlefield, you exile target spell or creature an opponent controls with mana value 4 or less. Then they make it into 2/2. This is a reference to the Submerge mechanic from the original Nangjiao block and Lost Among the Lilies, which is a 1 and a blue counter spell, which did exactly this. And which surprisingly, and not surprisingly, but which interestingly enough, is now a staple in Perfect Hand Magic, which is another sub-format of MSEM. But this just seems like everything you want in a tempo top end. It has flash, it flies, so it's actually evasive. It can deal with either resolved creatures, which is a huge problem tempo usually has. Maybe not Esper tempo, but just tempo in general. Usually wants to be answering stuff in the stack. And this gives you that flexibility of being able to do both. You're not losing out on the slot. You don't have to oh, do I want what do I want my split of counter magic and removal to be? It's nah, here's my win-con, counterspell, and removal all in one. And again, I was talking earlier, I want agency, I want flexibility when I'm playing games, even if it's overcosted. That's why I think my favorite card from the Alara spoilers by Mako was Esper Command, because it had that. It was all about flexibility. So once again, this feels like such a targeted pick for me, and I think that this is, of the cards here, the most likely to have a constructed impact, just because we've had a density of good counterspell creatures, Veilborn Meddler, Powder Scatterer, and I think that if you add this as a top end, or also Spectrum Archmage was briefly there, but then it kind of passed away. This as a replacement top end makes me feel like we could have like dedicated like no you tempo decks, which are just like curving out with creatures while also answering their opponent's threats, um, and also have the opportunity to also backdoor, where it's like even if I'm even if they're in a bad spot where their opponent is curving out aggressively, they have the tools to combat that. So like, yeah, I think this. I'm super excited about this. Um, and once again, thanks to Egg for giving me these spoilers. I'm just gonna throw all of them up on the screen now, real quick. But thanks to Egg for giving me these 3 spoilers. And once again, reminder to in the description, I will have a link to the MSE server and all of the and a link to the spoilers channel where you can see the cards that have already been spoiled for Goliaths for Nangjiao and Bloom, and there's a bunch of other blue cards that are going to be spoiled today, so go and check those out as well. Um, but yeah, I think that like sometimes for these spoilers and stuff, it feels a little bit contained because they're like in one server in one channel. So I'm hoping that like if you're seeing this and you're not already part of the MSE community, this will hopefully get you to be invested in the upcoming custom sets because there's so much good work. And this is one of 3 sets being spoiled right now in the custom spoilers channel. So go do that. But until next time, thank you for watching. This has been Caillou, and signing off. Bye.